Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much for being here for the Cali Current Podcast with your host, Ish.
And your host, Grimace, over here on the west side, the best side. What it do?
Yeah, I don't remember what that's from, but I'm sure that's everybody's going to know what movie that it's from. I forgot because I watch so many damn movies, I can't even know where it's from. But we're here today, right now, we're going to talk about a certain topic that everybody can relate to, especially because if you went to a job interview recently, especially if you have a master's degree and you couldn't get a job for some reason to save your life. I just literally just came from a job interview today. And I mean, I think I knocked it out of the park, according to me. But I could be wrong because I've been in really bad job interviews before where just it didn't matter what I did. I could have just, been a circus theatrics or whatever the case was. And that wasn't going to give me the job, whatever. So have you ever been to a bad job interview where you think you, for sure you got the job, but in reality, you basically messed it up because of the way that you possibly looked, the way that your skin color was? I mean, you look like a typical person that lives here in the U.S. or the United States.
Well, probably because I am a typical person that lives here. And your dancing, I'm guessing, is from the YMCA movie. That's what it looked like. I don't know.
That's a real movie? I mean, I don't know if the YMCA has a movie or whatever the case may be, but if you say so, what can I tell you?
But no, yeah. I mean, as far as doing bad on the interview, I mean, honestly, I like the interviews. Like, when I go on interviews, to me, I always feel like you, like right now, like I always feel like I nail them. Like after I leave every interview, I kind of like it because, like, the people get to see me. I got to let them know, like all my accolades, and I'll be like, dang, like usually I do nail the interviews, but there has been a couple interviews where I didn't get it. I was like, damn, but I was probably underqualified if I didn't get it, I would guess. But you say you nailed it, so
well,
what makes you think that?
The only reason why I say I nailed it is because for some reason it's like I go to interviews. It doesn't matter what type of job it is. I go to interviews and I'm only being real. That has a white lady on the panel because usually it's one or two or three at the most people, and it's like they see my skin color and automatically they're like start hating for whatever reason. But today, since I went to a job interview,
you did say something. Oh, so that's what you were saying about the skin tone. Well, I mean, we have different tones, different shades, but I mean, technically, legally, they're not supposed to be able to give preference just from your skin tone color. So I don't think that's really the issue, honestly. I mean, if you're the number one, for the job and it's undeniable, I'm pretty sure we're in capitalism. They're going to look to get the job accomplished. They're not going to say, we prefer this or that. They're just going to want whatever could come the most efficient and the most profit, because that's what I'm pretty sure that they're looking for.
It's easier said than done. And the only reason why I say so is because it has happened to me, because the first thing I do is the same thing that people do when interviews, especially the employers. They're going to look at you. They're going to judge you. This was an in-person interview. Those are hardly ever done now after COVID, after the COVID era, because of the fact that everybody can easily do a video interview. They could do a phone interview. They could do any type of interview that's not in person. But they want you to come in to see how committed you are to coming in, to getting there on time, to doing whatever they ask you. And this was a sort of a county job that has to do with a lot of responsibility because they're putting you in charge of driving people around.
No. If it's a government job, it's limited to easy, no stress. Maybe high responsibility.
But I've been at job interviews where I've been more than qualified. And like I said, I mean, not because I want to sound like I'm being biased about it, but because there was a white woman and she basically literally sized me up, and she was basically the deciding factor, which is usually mostly likely a manager. And it's like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. They're already going to judge me based on what she looks at me like. So it's like, I feel that this wasn't the case today. And I feel like I did great. I feel like I'm going to get the job. It's just a matter of time before they call me back.
So then why did you even bring up the whole skin tone? Or that's from previous interviews, the skin tone thing?
Because so one time in April of 2023, I did get hired to work for the civil department of the city of Riverside and or the county of Riverside. and I worked at the old county courthouse for a month. But I felt like since my manager was basically, and I'm sorry to say, it's not a stigma, she was white. She's like, she kept micromanaging every little thing that I did. And I got the job, yeah, but I only worked there for a month. And after 1 month, I had to leave because I felt like I was being discriminated against because of the fact that I was brown.
So was that one a Zoom interview or that was a regular one to get that job?
That one, I had to do a Zoom interview, yes. But in the panel, she wasn't involved. But she was my immediate supervisor when I started working there. And after a month, I felt like she was micromanaging me too much. And I had to leave because I wasn't comfortable being there. And it's like, it's one thing to be told by one supervisor, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. But it was a different thing entirely where 3 different people are like your supervisors and they're like micromanaging the crap out of you. And it's like, I don't get why they're on me all the time about everything. Maybe because I was probably the oldest candidate that got hired. I don't know.
I would bet the statistics on people that are hired through Zoom interviews probably have a higher percentage of not being with a company or business past 1 year compared to going in a physical interview. Because, like, you know, if I'm going to interview someone or I want to hire someone, I'm going to be like, I want to see them in person. I mean, I guess, yeah, like for the initial interview, the Zoom works. And then, okay, you made the first cut. Now comes the second and in person. Because I would say you want to see the person before or just start them off the Zoom interview. That's like, what if they put a artificial intelligence clone, which I know that's maybe not like more of a present day issue versus maybe a couple months or a couple years ago when, well, at least when I was interviewing. But yeah, like nowadays they could put a clone. So that's why I wouldn't trust a Zoom meeting.
True. But it's not that I go in there blind. I go in there observing them as much as they observe me. And the reason why I say that, you know, Caucasian women, to put it more PC, just size me up on the first time they see me. And they're like, oh, this guy's, I mean, just the way I feel about it is that they're going to be like, oh, this guy's not going to be responsible. This guy is not a good hire. He's going to do this. He's going to do that, blah, 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 you know? And I feel that that's what's the case is.
Could it be that's all in your mind, though?
It is not in my mind because usually my instincts are right when I go into interviews where there's a Caucasian woman and she's possibly a supervisor, a manager, or somebody important in that department. They're automatically going to be the voice of reason, and everybody else that possibly wants to hire me will listen to her because she's the voice of reason, technically.
Well, if you're in a position of power, you know, high-ranking position, I think you're going to do that to anybody, regardless of how you look or your skin tone. And especially in California, okay? Maybe Orange County, you know, has got that. Sometimes you can encounter some of these, you know, racy vibe, you know, and discrimination you're talking about. But California compared to, or Cali, you know, compared to other states like, say, Alabama, Mississippi, you know, the South, maybe even Texas. Okay, over there, then yes, that's highly likely. In California, maybe if it's in Orange County, maybe there's a chance of that. But California is supposed to be, you know, we were like more, not revolutionized, but more, what do you call it? Progress, forward moving, versus other states, you know, versus other states are more slow moving. So, and also, like I was saying, when you're in a position of power or, you know, decision making, like that lady, authority, then yeah, she's probably gonna do that to everybody. She's probably gonna size up everybody. I mean, I would be sizing up everybody. Like, let me see this mother trucker. Like, you know, whether it be from the Caucasus Mountains people, but like, I'll size them up too. Or if it's someone from, like, you know, from of Asian descent, I'll size them up too. Like, hey, you don't get automatic pass just because stereotypes. So no, it could have been that too, or you know, like,
I know
it's hard to prove that. It's hard to prove that. What I'm saying,
it's not that it's something that I should prove or not. It's an instinct that I have, and the reason why I say so is because the same, like I already mentioned at the beginning, when they look at me or they're sizing me up and they see me and they already have an opinion about me, same way I look at them and I'm like, I could tell in their face because I like to play poker. I'm a big time poker player. I don't play often, but sometimes I do play here and there. And I like to read people. I've been doing it ever since I was 3 or 4 years old, since I started going to schools or whatever the case may be. And when I see the the look in people's faces, especially people that want to interview, I automatically could tell already that they have some gripe with me or about me because of the fact that they think that I'm going to be irresponsible. But I have a lot of experience no matter what. My resume is really very built up. I have a good resume. I have a lot of experience in a lot of different facets of industry. And it's like automatically they're like, oh, no, this guy's not worth it or whatever. Or I feel that way. It's just a feeling that I get, not because I have an instinct or I could say that I have an instinct, but that's just the way I feel when I see them look at me in disgust or whatever the case may be.
So your opinion could be incorrect. It could be correct. We don't know. So, I mean, I would say just focus on the goodness that they don't.
It's correct
that's not
because when there was a Caucasian woman in the panel, I've never been hired. It's correct.
I would say that's an audacious claim, but also according to ApollotidClinical.com, 49% of the time the recruiters decide within the first 5 minutes if they're gonna if you're a worthy person, and on the other side, the flip side, 80% of the time the candidates reject an offer after a bad interview experience. So I'll say the biggest takeaway: just prepare for both. Nail the tech and tech yourself up for the live field, because in the first couple minutes, if you don't get it, regardless of what you look like or what, they're going to decide whether they want you or not.
And I just want everybody to see, this is the shirt that I was wearing. I forgot to take it out. Sorry, I forgot to put it back on because today was a really hot day in SoCal, especially in all the areas that I was in, which was further inland from the coast. Because right now I'm closer to the coast. It's not as cool, but it is a little warmish still because we have the fan going on. But more inland, like in the IE, it was a little bit warmer. So I took it off earlier because it was warm.
It was a little warm around when it was hot. I was watching TV. KTLA, the Channel 5, they were saying that the graduates are facing a rough job market. So imagine you are having these issues. Imagine now you have a bunch of other people graduating thinking they're going to get this amazing job after all these years of education and working. And now they got to go compete at jobs with people with you that have all this experience.
I don't feel like I'm the one that's being pessimistic about it. I don't feel like I'm the one that's facing that I'm not going to get a job after graduating college or a graduate degree or whatever the case may be. I feel like my experience speaks for itself. Maybe it might be a little bit too much experience and people want to see that I might have a little bit of stability or some stability or none at all. But I think my resume speaks for itself. I have extensive experience doing a lot of things in life, and I think that's what they look at. And I went in there confidently thinking, okay, I'm going to get the job. Yes, there was a little, hiccup or whatever the case may be. I showed up at the time of 3:30 p.m. for the job interview when they asked me to be there 20 minutes prior so I can fill out this questionnaire. But this questionnaire that they were talking about only took like 5 to 10 minutes max because I had to write in the answers. So it's like they wanted them to see if I was going to stick to the answers that I wrote in the job interview because basically they asked me for the same questions. But I went in there confidently, and I know that I'm possibly most likely more than 70% going to get the job.
Or you know what? It could be that you're really good, but based on what you're telling me, there's tests to determine what type of person you are, like a personality test. I forgot this one scientist, doctor, or person out there. There's different personality tests. So maybe they're just trying to see what fits in their team.
Yeah.
Because, depending on the personality they're looking for, where they want, like, someone who takes action, someone who plans, and just, so you could be this great person, but if you're not fitting that exact, because it usually describes them into four different segments, 4 different categories. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if they're, if I was looking for, like, all right, what does this company need? What kind of hire? Then, you kind of see, well, that's if you're pinpointing that's like some top-notch level places.
I think that they were gauging me mostly regarding to those questions is whether or not to see if I'm going to be a trustworthy person, whether I can handle the job in itself, because technically the position in itself is for me to transfer or to, transport, actually, that's the correct word, people from, certain government and or county agencies to and from their home because of the fact that I'm going to be driving. It was a driver position to drive all over the Southern California area because this district. Sorry, let me say it again. This county is very expansive. It goes to the high desert in Southern Cal, and it goes as far as I don't remember where she said, somewhere in 29 Palms or something like that, or Joshua Tree or something, which is a long drive. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive from from LA County area or whatever, wherever the IE is. So I guess that we're trying to gauge whether or not I'm going to be responsible enough to do the right thing if I'm transporting a lot of people.
Well, then that's what they got to base it on. I mean, 41%, according to businessinsider.com, 41% of jobs are not even requiring a degree. So unemployment is real. It's like half of the people. So all those graduates, you may think they have upper hand, but not in half of the job markets, or a little bit less than half. But also entry-level jobs, they took a hit. Entry-level jobs are down 17%. So, that's why I can see now why Channel 5 was saying it's a tough market to get into. Also, for the younger crowd, 22 to 27-year-olds, unemployment went up 5.8% March 2025 compared to March 2024. It was 4.2%. So they're also claiming that's the highest it's been since pre-pandemic, Fortune.com. So, I mean, they either got to get a hustle or maybe there's more self-entrepreneurs. I mean,
I think that the way that you just described all these statistics is that even younger people that are possibly Gen Zers or whatever the case may be can't find a job is because they're possibly, I guess their standards might be a little too high in my opinion, because the way I see it, none of these, let me rephrase that. A lot of these Gen Zers aren't even willing to take a job that pays pretty decently at McDonald's or something. That's what I've heard, because lately they've been having a big or a hard time finding young people. And even when because I drive a lot of people around for Uber and Lyft, for the big, or to the two big rideshare companies. And a lot of people that work in these warehouses, like in Amazon facilities or any type of high responsibility jobs, they say that the younger generation, they don't want to work. They don't come in. They have flex positions or whatever the case may be. And they're like, oh, well, they're not really reliable. So in reality, it's like that makes sense that a brand new graduate, from a Gen Z generation might not even get a job position because of the fact that a lot of these employers want stability. They want somebody that's going to be there all the time. And a lot of the times, a lot of these younger generation millennials and or Gen Zers don't want to be responsible and be there all the time when they're relied upon.
Yeah,
according to what I hear, not because it's my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So see, you're over here thinking that you're getting sized up by all these women of the Caucasus Mountains, but really it's it's just what they're looking for. Like you were just saying right now, they could be trying, but who knows if it's gonna go down or not.
But I'm nowhere near close to being a Gen Z or a millennial. I'm a Gen Xer actually. A lot of people don't want to. Well, a lot of young people actually don't want to realize it, but we were the last greatest generation ever, besides the boomers. And after that, it's basically all downhill. And I'm not trying to say that to disparage the younger generations after me. I'm just being I'm reflecting of an opinion of what a lot of people feel in terms of today's unbiases or not.
Well, regardless, the job market is tough for both sides. Whether they're looking for someone with experience and the drive and the motivation, that would be more like us older cats, versus the younger ones that are just graduating from college. I mean, they're hungry to learn. They're also more motivated to work because, honestly, I've worked a couple years, and if a superior or manager or whatever is gonna give me some attitude, I'm gonna be like, hey, like, watch yourself, like, don't give me too much attitude. Versus, a younger graduate, they'll probably be more apt to, an experience. If they get, overworked, they won't notice it until maybe by the time the job is completed. So
and don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't like to listen to my superiors or whatever the case may be. In terms of the previous job that I had about 2 years ago in 2023, the point is that I like like being independent when it comes to work, and it's like I don't like somebody basically over my shoulder the whole time looking at every single little thing that I do wrong, and it's like them pulling me into the office and telling me about it, and that I don't work well like that. I'm more of an independent worker, but that's just me. I mean, I guess I didn't like the fact that I was being micromanaged by 3 different supervisors back 2 years ago, but if this job that requires, yes, a lot of responsibility, but at the same time, it helps me work independently, I would be more than grateful to.
Was it a big company or a small company?
The last job?
The one you're talking about.
Oh, well, that was 2 years ago, and that was the county of Riverside.
How many employees? Like bigger than
250?
It's
a courthouse. It was the civil department in the old historic courthouse in Riverside County. So I would assume they were a big employer. And the reason why they were tacking on a lot of I don't feel like I was going to be treated fairly, because they wanted me to learn like 6 different facets of the department and have all this responsibility for technically like $25 an hour back then 2 years ago. And it's like, it wasn't really fair, because a lot of people that were after COVID were retiring, and it's like, how am I going to learn all these facets of the job when I'm only going to be paid a certain amount of money, and I have to be responsible for all these things to know and to be always on it every single day? I don't think it was going to work out for the money.
Now you're being like the young cats that don't want to take a job.
No, but it's not about taking the job. I'm more than willing to be responsible, but I did that. I hustled my butt off when I was 18 for a company that didn't really appreciate me, because they wanted me to do all these things for 1/4 an hour more raise, and that, to me, it's not worth it. It's not worth my time, it's not worth my effort, and it's not worth my value. That's the way I see it. Yeah, you're right, but I earned the right to be tough on what I want to earn.
Well, it's a bigger company. I mean, that's a big company. It says, according to businessinsider.com, that the grads looking for employment are shifting to smaller companies. So, yeah, it also says that, with a smaller company, you'll get more growth and flexibility. So, if you're going for big companies, they're going to want structure. They're not going to want, and maybe slower growth. So, maybe that's a good thing then that, you estuvo with those big companies.
Yeah, true. Well, we haven't even discussed it, actually, but the word of the day is ¿qué pasa? It's 2 actually words. That's the word of the day. ¿Qué pasa means what's happening. And that's what's happening right now in today's market. ¿Qué pasa? QUE and then space PASA. ¿Qué pasa? That's the phrase or the word of the day today, by the way.
All right. So what lifts you while staying grounded in these stressful times? What lifts you up and lets you just be like, have a good time without having to deal with all that?
In terms, you mean lift me up like when it comes to jobs?
Like in life? Like, okay, when you get home from stressing out at the interview, what lifts you? Like, like what lifts you up when your life feels heavy?
I say a 6-pack of my favorite beer.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on a hot day like today it was.
Yeah, or also like, I mean, some people like hiking, doing hiking trails, getting closer to nature. I mean, yeah, and being closer to nature, for me, gardening, like messing with my plants, keeping up with them. Actually, I fall behind. I don't water them on time and prune them. But yeah, messing with that stuff's pretty cool, but it does take time away, and especially nowadays and these cell phones, the time be pretty scarce.
Going to the beach, actually, because I don't live close to the beach. I live like more than 1 hour away from the beach.
What, in the sun time or in the moon time?
Both night and day, actually. I wouldn't mind getting in the water. Actually, I was thinking about it today. I mean, right before the interview, I'm like, it's so hot. Today's like a beach day. I wish I was at the beach today.
I mean, honestly, yes and no. Because, yeah, before going to the beach involved getting in the water and the waves, and that's pretty cool. But honestly, as in my experience learning about the beach and how how the water is like basically water from sewage, and a lot of times and sometimes they'll say it's too toxic, it's like a health hazard. Basically, that kind of turned me off from going to the beaches. Well, at least over here, I mean, I know Huntington Beach used to be Surf City, USA, but I don't know. What if it's like sewage water and stuff? Like,
they still have the World Championships of surfing there, and that's going to happen the next couple of days or weeks coming up here in HP. Huntington Beach, California.
So you would trust the water? Is it good and healthy, or is it like swimming in
Honestly, I don't care
water?
because I really hardly ever go. I go once a year at the very most,
True.
and at the very least, no times a year. But it's funny that you bring that up because today at work I was actually just minding my own business, watching the kids. Watching the one-on-one that I have for, my child that I work with, and it's like these two females. They were young. They were in their early 20s. They were talking about how they went to the beach recently, and about how they like certain beaches here in SoCal. That how they prefer like Newport Beach and Laguna Beach over like Huntington Beach because the waves are too strong, and the beach it all comes together how we talk about certain things, and it's like we don't bring them up. It's just how the way things are in this life. But I was just overhearing them. I didn't interject. I didn't have my own opinion because I was just sitting there trying to relax because the sun was really strong today. And, we're trying to keep the kids in the shade as much as possible. But, on hot summer days that are coming up soon, it's going to be impossible to do that.
I mean, a good relaxing time too. I mean, it used to be playing video games, but now I think it's kind of been replaced, at least for me, with scrolling. Sometimes I'll be scrolling through my, social media, and I'll come across some funny people, some funny accounts, some funny jokes. So
you do get distracted very easily with the social media because I could literally be like yelling at you and you wouldn't even pay attention to what I'm saying because I've seen you in action, and then in action actually.
sometimes, man, some of my feed begins to some hilarious jokes. Some people doing hilarious things, like Eric Andre. He's a funny comedian. The things he does. Some other stand-up comedian was funny. He's giving like overweight jokes. I don't know. That makes me laugh. I don't know why.
I think they get a little bit old, the overweight jokes, because and I'm only being real. Like every chunky person, every person that's overweight, comes up with those who make fun of themselves. It's like we've heard them already. It's like, come on.
But yeah, look at studies show like 5-minute gratitude journaling could cut anxiety by 30%. I mean, I don't have anxiety, but if you have it, and daily exercise could boost productivity by 12%. Damn, that's a lot. So if you want some more productivity in your life, get that daily exercise.
Yeah, I think walking does soothe me a lot, actually, and also running or jogging. Or I don't run a lot, but I try to jog as much as I can. It does distress me, but it's like right now, it's hard. I'm juggling a lot of things in my life right now. It's like it's hard to go exercising after your just long day for being, out there and doing every little thing you can. But that's just my opinion because everybody has a different schedule. My schedule's a little hectic right now.
I mean, yeah, that's everybody's hectic. I would say everybody would say their schedule is hectic just because my theory is the cell phone has allowed everybody to make every minute of every day hectic, which is good though, because it allows us to be more efficient. But at the same time, it is a disconnect from, they say, like from real social connections. Everyone's trying to be more efficient, doing Zoom interviews and whatnot. But at the end of the day, whether you're, handling the day, smashing, job interviews, or battling, the recruiters, whatever, doing the self-care, exercising, things that uplift you, going to the beach, nature things, it brings it back down to keep you nice and steady and not get overwhelmed with all the craziness we got to deal with in 2025.
Yeah, and just it's hard to do the self-care because everybody gets so bogged down. It's like I hear a lot of stories from my writers that they say, well, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I'm like, you got to make time. I know we only have 24 hours a day, and we've already spoken about it here in a different episode before. But I try to make as much time as I can for everything. It's hard to juggle everything. I'm not really doing my exercises the way I want to be making time for my exercise just so I can stay fit. Mentally fit, I guess, is more important right now for me. But right now, actually, I am worried. This is why I went to the job interview today, because I am worried that I'm not going to have a job after the end of this month in terms of the fact that the kids go back to school on August 11th. And I don't know if I want to prepare myself to work, full time for both rideshare companies and just do that for the next 2-3 months so I can get it back on track, I guess, monetarily. but we all do what we can, and that's why I'm gonna make sure that if I get the job or not, I'm just gonna have to make the better decision. What suits me best at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the right track. You're over here planning just in case. And even if things don't go your way, you got, you're going to land on your feet. So, you'll be good. Just keep at it. I mean, you know what else? There's nothing else you could do. You only could worry about what you could control. You don't stress out about the other stuff. You hope for the best, though.
And I don't feel like I have any stresses right now.
Nice.
The only thing is that this entity that I'm applying for, that I interviewed for today, they take a long time in terms of getting somebody in to get them for hired for orientation, because I've applied to this entity for many years prior, maybe 3 or 4 times in different, decades, I guess, because I've been applying forever, and it's like it's just their process. That's just how slow they work. But I can't complain, because a job's a job. Eventually, I'm gonna do something that I like.
Well,
we'll see.
Hey, I hope it goes well, and the best comes out for you, whether it be getting it or not. I mean, you never know.
But I think if it's harder for me to find a job at my age, I'm almost 50. I'm sure it's gonna be really tough for these younger generations to find a job straight out of college, because they're more qualified in terms of their degrees. But I have a lot of qualifications in terms of my experience and years in service of doing a little bit of everything in terms of the facets of any type of work that I can come up with. And I've done all I can to actually try to stay busy. But I'm trying to get up there too. It just depends. It's a struggle. It's a daily struggle. So you just got to learn how to juggle it here and there.
Yeah, it depends what they're looking for. If they want someone new and more moldable, or if they want someone to get the job done with seasoned experience and grit.
Yeah. So don't get frustrated no matter what. You have your degree. That's a upper leg than I have. But at least, you have a right head start.
Yeah, so that's it for episode 32. Real talk on acing interviews, of acing the grad grind, and, how to make sure you keep your spirits up in all times. And how to get there in your own thing.
Stay positive. Stay true to yourself. Stay mentally focused, mentally challenged, and you can challenge yourself every single day. But don't forget, I've already said this once before, it doesn't matter how you dance at the party. It matters how much you have a good time while you're doing it, okay? Because that's all that matters. You know yourself and keep yourself focused.
Subscribe, hit the bell, and share this one. It's a lifeline for anyone in the job grind.
Thank you very much for being here for the Cali Current Podcast. We do love you, appreciate you. Have a wonderful, blessed future.
Peace out, everybody.
Take care.